Guten Tag and bienvenidos, listeners, and welcome to Über Cinco, the podcast game show where we deep dive top fives. I'm Brian Ernst, your host for today, and guess what? It's a clip show! We're going to give you some of the best Fast Fives of the year so far. We did one of these at the end of 2020. We are doing one about 3/4 of the way through 2021 through unforeseen scheduling circumstances. We were not able to all get together this week, but we wanted to make sure you guys had something to fill your ear holes. So we're going to take some of the best Fast Fives we've done so far and lay them out here. And as you have it, it's going to be a lot shorter than last year's episode. Looks like our writing's gotten a little tighter, our performing's gotten a little better. So we're not going to fill up as much of your time this week, but hopefully still bring you the laughs like we always intend to. And before we get into the Fast Fives, I always want to remind you that if you want to get blown to the moon by our catalog, head on over to the all-new BizBear.biz, which is a redirect to ubercinco.com, the refreshed home of this very humble podcast. You'll be able to see featured episodes, watch the YouTube version of the show, and even leave us a review all under one roof. And better yet, the same suggestion form for you to submit your topics to us is still there, but with a bonus. There is now a microphone icon on the bottom right of the screen that allows you to leave us a voicemail. So give us your ideas in your own words. We may even play them on the show, so please don't say anything you don't want broadcast. Now, without further ado, here are the best of Fast Fives.
And now, guys, it's time for the Fast Five. And this is it. The top 5 things you'll never forget about your doctor's office. Number 5, the hair on Sharon at the front desk. So much volume. It looked like it would taste like the fanciest lemonade cotton candy I'd ever get my tongue on, right? Also, was Sharon kind of gorgeous? Maybe. Did she give me candy? You betcha. And did she deserve a finer tailored cardigan with a flattering silhouette of her ample curves and the requisite structural support for her clunky name tag? Most definitely. Number 4. How the exam table is always 3 inches too tall and makes your legs go to sleep. Now, weak legs are never good, especially when you're trying to step down on that little pull-out step that's never as steady feeling as it looks, or when you're self-conscious, of course, about taking down your pants during an examination. Number 3, the cold hands of Dr. Tetley. The cold hands of Dr. Boston. The cold hands of Dr. Lewis. Paging all doctors. From now on, after the initial hand sanny, maybe a quick flash over a Bunsen burner before you summon goosebumps all over my special purpose. Number 2, Dr. Lewis's mustache. She knew how to grow him. Number 1, the nurse who closes her eyes at the point of insertion while administering shots. I mean, is there any better nightmare fuel for a squeamish young child than a permed-headed nurse with nicotine stains on her teeth and an inability to keep her eyes from fluttering when the needle plunges? Yeah. Her second favorite move was the sneak attack. As she stuck my left arm, she'd have a second nurse run double duty on my veins by targeting my bulging right child bicep simultaneously. No, it wasn't really that much more efficient, nurse. Even 8-year-old me could scream that in your face as you put that dumb, goofy Band-Aid over the wound. Yes, that's right. Even though I've forgotten her name, I'll never forget her face, especially right when the needle approached and the overshadowed eyes of this monster would flutter, and then close as her dimply thumb depressed the plunger. The source of paranoia and flop sweat all through my adolescent years while getting shots at the Highland Family Physician's office. Thank you, Nurse Nightmare.
It's time for my Fast Five, the top 5 movements of all time. Number 5. Ba-ba-ba-ba! Beethoven's 5th Symphony, first movement. The single most recognizable musical introduction in classical music is so ubiquitous that even the most uncouth Philistine could name the composer from the first 4 notes. Legend has it that the ba-ba-ba-ba This beautiful piece of music has been described as radiant beams shoot through this region's deep night, and we become aware of gigantic shadows which, rocking back and forth, close in on us and destroy everything within us except the pain of endless longing, a longing in which every pleasure that rose up in jubilee. All right, enough of that crap. Number 4, the Romanian split squat. A simple yet effective variation of the squat, which works several major muscle groups without needing to pile on heavy weights, so it can be done in the comfort of your own living room. All you need is a sturdy chair. To do this compound exercise, lift your back leg on the chair, squat with your forward leg. You'll work your quads, glutes, hamstrings, abdominals, and spinal erectors. You'll notice quick improvements to your agility, explosiveness, and core strength, and it'll help put just the right amount of junk in your trunk. Pro tip, make sure you do equal reps with both legs to improve side-to-side imbalances. But you already knew that about unilateral exercises. Number 3, the Farmers Take Brussels movement. In 2009, more than 2,500 farmers joined this protest movement started by the European Milk Board in opposition to unreasonable quotas and the falling price of milk. They descended into the Belgian capital, blocking access to the European Union building with hundreds of tractors and trucks. This is all true. They burned hay and tires and threw eggs and sprayed milk at police, even at times, and there's a picture of this on the internet, spraying milk straight from a cow's udder at police who are holding up a shield to block it. I don't know if it brought about change, but it's definitely hilarious. Number 2, jazz hands.
Oh.
The ever-present movement, the campiest of camp, useful in musicals, cheerleading, dance recitals, or distracting opposing players shooting free throws. This classic dance move can be done by anyone because you don't have to have any lower body coordination. And the number 1 movement of all time, the Black Friday bowel movement. Oh, baby. That 7th slice of pumpkin pie doesn't seem like such a good idea now, does it?
We cannot leave today without my Fast 5, which of course is the top failed store names that were too clever for their own good. Number 5, Around the Bend. What seems like it would have been a nice local bike shop is actually an oddly specific travel agency that offers bike tours around small town Bend, Oregon. Famously known as the home of the last blockbuster, Bend enthusiasts are trying to capture a new form of tourism to keep those copies of Air Bud World Pup on the shelves a little longer. Number 4, Calling the Kettle Black. A clever name for a tea shop, right? Wrong! This mini mall hole in the wall can only be entered from the alley, attempting to cash in on the squid inked food phenomenon that no one asked for. It is even more niche as they only sell Black Kettle Foods, which is just squid ink dyed kettle chips and popcorn. The tar smiles of the unhappy guests are clearly a sign for help. Number 3, In a Pinch. What a cute name for a convenience store. Nuh-uh. In a Pinch only sells oddly restrictive male underwear. Number 2. La-dee-da. What would have been a bubbly, colorful children's candy store is just a Chris Farley, Matt Foley impersonator in a dark room you pay $5 to roast you. La-dee-da. Number 1. That One Place. Meant to be a hilarious marketing ploy, That One Place was a general store with a bunch of unique finds you could only find at, you guessed it, That One Place. When no one knew how to find this fucking place, a hostile landlord takeover kicked out the tenants that used their life savings to open it and instead rented the place to a sex shop that kept the name. That One Place is now synonymous with lubes, rubbers, and cuffs instead of worldly treasures.
Oh.
Sad.
And so that will move us on to the Fast 5, which is interactive. Our 2 contestants get to just jump in here.
Yes.
You got it's TV neighbor haikus. I've described some classic TV neighbors in haiku. Once I complete reading the haiku, just go ahead and shout out who it is.
Okay.
Have a little fun.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Number 5.
Yep.
Imparts sage wisdom, though never fully revealed to the man who grunts.
Wilson
From Home Improvement. Number 4. Greeted with disdain, worked through snow, rain, heat, and gloom. Nice game, pretty boy.
Newman
from Seinfeld. Yes. That's right.
Wow. Good job.
Number 3. 3 backwoods brothers with 2 names and just 1 voice. It was all a dream.
Daryl.
And?
My other brother, Daryl.
And
my name is
Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
Larry, there we go.
From Newhart.
Newhart.
Cripes.
That's right. Number 2. His name was Arthur, but only to Mrs. C. Water ski mistake.
Fonzie.
Fonzie from Happy Days. Number 1. Married late in life. Shamelessly promotes business. Always keeps it cool.
Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration.
From The Office, the most American one we can get.
Well, I guess we can't leave without my fast five. All right. Top 5 worst places for your car to break down. Number 5, Bethany, Indiana. 0.09 square miles and a population of 81. There is no way anything good happens in less than a square mile. Number 4, French Lick, Indiana. It's got a casino and is the hometown of Larry Bird. I have no evidence, but this sounds like a bad combo. Also, French Lick. Come on. All right. Number 3, Hope, Indiana. Because I'm assuming this place doesn't have any. Hope was the only remaining Moravian church in the state of Indiana, which I learned was a subsection of Czech folks. And there's still many traditional Moravian practices that are also preserved, such as the display of the putts during Christmas time celebrations. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to look it up further because I want to know what the celebration of the putts is in Hope, Indiana. Number 2, Churubusco, Indiana, also known as Turtletown, USA, which I only assume to mean that turtles outnumber humans 6-1. All right. Number 1, Muncie, Indiana. It's nearly a 4-hour drive from here, and yet they have the nerve to call it Little Chicago. I know this was the basis for Pawnee, but it was founded by dudes called the Ball Brothers. And I read a fact that John Dillinger stopped here once. And he didn't even rob anything. So how good could it be?
My fast 5 of the top 5 buckets of all time.
Woo!
Number 5, the KFC bucket.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Eating out of a bucket. Talk about class. You're a human being, not a 6-week-old calf. Have some self-respect. Number 4, Buckethead. This mysterious guitar virtuoso took the KFC bucket and wore it on his head.
Oh.
So in 2007, I paid $15 whole to go to a Buckethead show. 2 guys behind me were there because the tickets were so cheap, and they said they'd never heard of him. Then one guy said to the other, with great sincerity, Buckethead must be some kind of marketing genius. Because he remains anonymous and he wears this bucket on his head. He called a guy he had heard of 2 hours ago a marketing genius. Still one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. And I so regret not turning around and slapping the stupid out of the dude's mouth. 14 years later, I've never forgotten that. All right, number 3, the bucket hat.
Oh.
It comes in and out of fashion. LL Cool J, Rihanna, Justin Bieber, among others, have all sported this durable piece of headgear that originated in Ireland in the early 20th century to protect fishermen's heads from rain. As great as Kylie Jenner looks in one, it will never top Gilligan from Gilligan's Island or your grandpa with a bunch of fishing lures dangling from the sides.
Oh, yeah.
Classic. Number 2, the bucket seat.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Which is on the next page. Are you old enough to have been carted around in a minivan with a bench in the center in the back of the vehicle?
Yeah.
Did you have to sit crammed with a sibling on either side jostling for elbow room for the entire 14-hour ride to Disney World? What a day it was when you could finally climb in the back and have your own elbow rest, leg room, and adjustable back. The life of luxury indeed.
Oh,
and number 1,
I love Vans.
number 1, the greatest bucket of all time, Mr. Bucket. You guys remember Mr. Bucket?
No, continue.
Mr. Bucket, buckets of fun. This popular children's game from the 1990s had this actual tagline in its commercial.
The game's Mr. Bucket. The first to get their balls into Mr. Bucket wins, but look out, because the balls will pop out of his mouth.
Was there simply no quality control team on duty that day, or did the folks at Milton Bradley simply have a sick and twisted sense of humor? Ah, the mysteries of life.
All right, now it is time for the Fast 5 worst summer thirst quenchers. Number 5, a hot not so fresh can of Yoo-hoo from the back of the car.
Oh.
Yep. You picked this up one time at a gas station, but got distracted by that call from mom. That can swirled around the back seat for months until you kind of needed to clean out the back seat for guests. Then you threw it in the trunk, but come on, you're not going to waste it. I mean, you bought the can. Then comes the day where you need it, and that thick chocolate drink coats your throat hole, making you wish you weren't you anymore. Number 4, a cold glass of vinegar.
What?
Your young nephew Toby thought it would be a fun prank to play on you, an unassuming uncle. Your red Solo cup of Sprite was replaced, and now Toby walks with a limp. Coincidence? A judge thought so. Number 3. A skunk beer that's been in the cooler since last summer. You know the one. It's the forgotten moose head that you buried in ice when you restocked the cooler without looking. It's the end of the party and it's the only beer left. Little do you know it has been frozen, defrosted, and reheated several times over the seasons. Good luck, soldier. You're gonna need it. Number 2. A ladle of sticky caramel from the Sunday bar. No comment, just a horrible idea. Number 1, a fresh, ice-cold draft IPA. Why would you do this to yourself? Who made IPAs popular? What is wrong with everyone's palates? Are you guys okay? Who hurt you? Drinking perfume is not okay. You will die. I want you to live.
Now it's time, as always, for my Fast 5, you guys. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Here we go. This week's Fast 5 is top 5 reasons why Nicolas Cage would make a great father to me. Number 5, he'll give you a dope-ass first name of a superhero. Famously, Nick Cage was supposed to play Superman, Kal-El, in Tim Burton's Superman. That never happened. So what did he do? He named his actual son Kal-El. So in this case, I wouldn't be able to get that name as well. So maybe I'd be, the Robin to his Batman. So he'd probably just call me Dick. All right, number 4. Nick Cage is a high achiever. We know that. And he would expect a lot of me as a kid, as a student. He would expect for me to try my hardest. So here I have a quick audio clip of me showing my report card to my father, Nicolas Cage. Brian, please take it away.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! Eyes!
My father, Daddy-O, Nicolas Cage, expects A's, goddammit, on that report card. And the reason I'm getting A's is because he started with me early, all right? I knew the alphabet from way early on. And actually, we were able to get audio of my daddy, Nicky Cage, teaching me about the alphabet. Brian, please take it away.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Ah! That's all you have to do.
And it only took one time, and I got my letters down. That's number 4. Okay. Number 3 reason why Nicolas Cage would be a great father to me is that he would teach me about the proper care of animals in the home, having pets, providing them water, a great natural habitat, and not just letting them, loose about the house. And actually, here was my dad, Nick Cage, teaching me about some of my own exotic pets.
What are these fucking iguanas doing on my coffee table? They possess iguana.
You know what my daddy Nick Cage always says? You take care of your things and they'll take care of you. That was the last time I left my iguana on the coffee table. All right, number 2. Sometimes you really need a a serious talking to from your papa. And Daddy Cage gave me this, some good insight on life. It's a bit existential, but this is a recent talk he gave me when I was feeling a bit adrift. So, Brian, please take it away.
They're not real. You get that, right?
What?
None of it is real.
Really?
The critics aren't real. The customers aren't real. Because this isn't real, Eric. Why do you care about these people? They don't care about you. None of them.
Oh my God.
They don't even know you.
What?
Because you haven't shown them. Every day you'll wake up and there'll be less of you. You live your life for them and they don't even see you. You don't even see yourself. We don't get a lot of things to really care about. Derek, who has my pig?
To be fair, Papa Cage calls me Derek sometimes when he's mad at me. And one of my friends had gotten drunk and stolen his pig out of the pen. So, all right, number 1. Now, when Mitch turns 16, it's old driver's license time, right? And Daddy Cage will work really hard. He'll teach his face off as I grow accustomed to the City of Angels. We live in LA, by the way, in this scenario. And even though he can sometimes, drive angry, or perhaps he isn't the Rock you'd hope he'd be, and sometimes he fails to show up from time to time, making him a ghost rider for some driving lessons. He preaches, adaptation, staying present and attempting to see 2 minutes into the future, always trying to know what's about to come next. And what it boils down to is my father, Nicolas Cage, he's just the family man. And I love him. Bangkok Dangerous!
And that's this week's edition of Uber Cinco. Thank you for sticking with us this week. Hope you enjoyed those Fast Fives. And as BizBear always says, stop macing me. I just wanted some food from your campsite. Auf Wiedersehen and adios. You've just listened to Uber Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBK Studios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.